Septic system technology has been constantly improving all around the world, and Canadian companies in particular are continually developing new on-site technologies. Research at the Ontario Rural Wastewater Centre at the University of Guelph plays an important role in developing, assessing, and providing training and demonstrations of many of these new technologies. For one thing, septic tanks have certainly gotten a lot better. In the past, steel tanks, cinder block tanks, or poured-in-place concrete tanks were used. Today, septic tanks are either prefabricated concrete or plastic or fiberglass, making installations and replacement much easier.
The concrete we use is much more corrosion resistant, so we don't see nearly as much concrete corrosion that we might have seen 25 years ago. We used to use steel tanks. We don't use those anymore because they're known to corrode and corrode quite quickly. Plastic septic tanks, which we only saw a little bit 25 years ago, we're seeing much more now. The plastics are much stronger, a lot more robust than they were to begin with. And plastic septic tanks provide an advantage. They're much lighter and easier to work with.
Similarly, years ago, leaching beds were made with clay tiles and asbestos pipe. Not only have those materials been replaced with plastic pipes, but alternative technologies have become more readily available to homeowners, providing practical solutions for sewage treatment in different soil conditions, sensitive and remote locations, or where conventional systems may not be appropriate.
Advanced treatment technologies all have one characteristic which is common to all of them, and that is that they provide more oxygen to the sewage, which allows it to be treated more before it gets to the ground.
Some of the new, approved technologies, including aerobic treatment units and media filters, are sometimes capable of producing an effluent of the same quality or even better than some large municipal treatment plants.
The wastewater would come out of the septic tank and then come into a treatment tank, such as you see here in this blue tank here. And inside this treatment tank is a media, this plastic media that I have here in my hand. And this plastic media would be inside the water, and a biofilm would grow on top of that media. And then air is pumped in, which surrounds that media, and that creates the treatment process, which will break down the wastewater before it gets returned to the environment. This technology uses peat as a filter media. And this is an example of some of the peat. It's not the kind of peat that you would buy at your garden store, but specially manufactured peat just for the treatment of wastewater.
And there are alternatives when it comes to laying out the leaching bed as well.
These are two examples of products that are used throughout the province to replace gravel conventionally seen in on-site systems. The first one here is an example of a chamber system, and this plastic chamber would go into a trench dug in the soil absorption system area, and the effluent would be pumped into or gravity fed into the upstream end here and flow along the bottom of the trench underneath the chamber. This product over here is polystyrene beads, which are surrounding a piece of drainage pipe and then wrapped in a netting to keep it all together. And that looks, in fact, somewhat like gravel and pipe, except the gravel has been replaced by these polystyrene beads.
One of the requirements under the Ontario Building Code governing some of these alternative technologies is that you have a regular maintenance contract.
And what that means is that once every 6 months, once every year, a maintenance provider will come out and make a check of your system. Sometimes they may take a sample to see how well it's working. Sometimes they will just review to make sure that any pumps or blowers or filter media is working properly.
That can mean an additional cost of another $150 to $250 a year. Your local on-site sewage system professional can help you select the right technology for your site. And your local conservation authority or municipality can tell you about any cost-sharing programs that may be available.